Johan, should we say it was an interesting game on Saturday to analyse? Would that be fair?
Yeah, I think it's a fair reflection. I think it, one that, well, a lot of ifs and buts, that you can look at and probably highlights and some low moments. But yeah, it's really like they say, like that kissing your sister feeling, because the reality is that, it's one we probably were quite in control of and then let it slip, but then credit to the players coming back and get 3 points out of the game.
So when you analyse it, have you learned anything that you didn't know at 6:30 on Saturday evening?
Oh, for sure. I think as a group we learned a lot that, just small decisions, ball in hand, you're not respecting the ball, we lost ball in contact, we tried to force offloads, and then obviously one or two skill errors that cost us momentum, but more so they got points out of it.
Going forward, though, how important is it that you're still unbeaten and that you can take that back into Kingsholm this Friday for another West Country derby?
Yeah, it's not going to get easier. The reality is that, sides is going to come for us, and we obviously know that the local sides in the vicinity is always a big matchup. We're going to be tested in our depth. We've got a few niggles and stuff, and how to manage the players. So I think all squads will start feeling the toughness of the competition, but we have to stay positive. We saw the tries that we scored, we saw the rugby we can play. The challenge for us now is to make sure we deliver we start looking, we got all the first nervousness out, and we've got I think we hopefully start getting match fitness in now. So now we must start searching for that 80-minute performance.
And I suppose the combinations can be that little bit slicker as well, can't they?
Yeah, especially if we can put out the same squad most of the times. This week there will be a few late fitness tests. We will wait for a few guys, but if it helps if you can get that consistency in the team as well.
How are Charlie Sharples and Val Rapava Ruskin? What's the latest on them?
Yeah, both is tracking well for the week. Obviously, we'll limit their involvement in the training, but Charlie has really responded well. So looks like he's highly likely to make it, and we're grateful for that. Obviously, after Saturday we were nervous about the long term, but he bounced back brilliantly from that, and we were very fortunate as we all prayed for him and hoped that he'll recover well, and it looked like it happened. So we're thankful, and then Val is also tracking well. Obviously, we have to get him as pain-free as we can, and he's going well, but we'll make a late decision on that.
And of those who've been out so far, have you got any of those coming back into the mix, maybe a Willie Hines or someone like that?
Willie is still on his rehab program, so he won't be available. Owen Williams, that wasn't available for the weekend, is available for this week. So obviously he'll be part of the selection process. But other than that, all the other guys that's still on the injured list are still rehabbing and still on that list.
I've barely mentioned Bristol yet. Because they're now a couple of games into the season, has that taken some of the surprise element of what they could offer maybe out of the equation?
No, I don't think a surprise. I think maybe just a bit more footage on them that we can analyse them and see, where are they strengths and what areas we can hopefully exploit. But then, I think they showed exactly what we thought before the season started, that they're going to be highly competitive, well coached, a lot of X factor over across the board, and a very competitive team, and I think they proved it against Saracens on the weekend. They proved it in round one. Up until halftime they were leading, and one can argue how much influence that their red card had. Obviously Saracens is a quality side, but they're not going to make up numbers just in this competition, and I think they made it quite clear they want to stay in the competition, and for them they're going to be highly motivated. So we obviously have to be at our best.
One or two people might have thought, they might shock Bath in round one, but how impressed were you with the way that they backed that up against Saris?
Exactly, like I said, I think they've already proven enough in the 2 weeks to show that they can compete in this competition and at this level, and I'm sure they're going to be very tough away, but even more so at home for teams to come there. So I expect nothing else than a massive challenge, and that our players, we've already spoken that we have to be at our best against them.
As a coach, can you actually enjoy a derby match? Is there any difference for you?
I suppose the derby for me is a bit different to the guys who grew up and who's been in Gloucester for years and in Bristol. I'm not so involved in that, I think I've said it a few times that, in my playing days, for me, moving from different provinces in South Africa, there was quite big derbies. And maybe the first time as a player, when you play against a side like Matt Banner now played against Bath, there's a bit of history behind it. But post that, it's all about the process, and it's all about your team performing. And as much as I appreciate the fact that there's history and that there's a derby and supporters, that we want to make proud in representing the club, and I know the importance of that. As much as I want the players to be professional in the approach of this game, I want them to be motivated, focused and energized for every game, not just because it's a derby game. So regardless of that it's Bristol, it could have been any other side. I want them really to up the performance.
And just a final thought on selection. Obviously there's the A-League going on concurrently as well as the Premiership. Does that make it harder to make changes because you've got players playing Monday or Saturday or Monday, or does that make it easy because they're, if you like, a bit more game ready to come in?
Yeah, I mean, it's an opportunity for players to play them into the team. Obviously they can show us what form they are, what are their strengths, what are what will they add to the team. So and to get their match fit, but also obviously that's also difficult, like you said, out of a recovery point of view, if we try to get players freshen up as well. So it's that mix and balance, but it is an opportunity for sometimes to use some of your guys who's on the bench, or maybe a guy who comes out of an injury, to first test and see where he is match fitness. So there is benefits. I would say the biggest negative is probably the fact that it's on a Monday night, and we have to sit and see if we can maybe get other days or better days, because the reality is it means that your Monday and your Tuesday's preparations are influenced by that. But that's obviously up for us and some of the other members to sit down and to see how we can schedule that better. But it has its positives and negatives.